Hello and welcome to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Mario Scavello.
And I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown. We are here today at DES, Developmental Education Services of Monroe County, and we have Gary Roberts with us, who is the Vice President of the Board of Directors, and Sue Folk, who is the Executive Director.
Thank you.
Welcome, and thank you for having us here today.
Happy to be here.
So I think we should probably start the program for people who are watching to understand what DES, what it is, and what you actually do for our community. So I don't know who wants to take the lead on that. Sue, do you want to start with that?
Actually, I'm going to let Gary. Gary is a charter board member. When cerebral palsy, United Cerebral Palsy was up here providing the services and could no longer do it, they were going to pull the services out of the county. Grassroots effort, board of directors came together, and that's where Gary stepped in and stepped up as a volunteer. So. Wow. You can give us the history.
That was pretty much my history.
You're the hero.
Well, and we did say before we started today, 1982.
Actually, we started a little before. Yeah, in '82.
Was Gary's.
With me, Jim D'Angelo, Attorney John Dunn. When, as Sue mentioned, the United Cerebral Palsy was going to discontinue services to Monroe County and Pike County, which was became CDD, or Center for Developmental Disabilities, back in those days. And we had many long meetings with the members of UCP, United Cerebral Palsy. They came up and sat with us. We created a set of bylaws and operating procedures and everything else. It took us several weeks of meetings to do that. And then we incorporated CDD, which covered both Monroe and Pike counties, as our own organization. And we set up our own board of directors, and we hired people to run the program for us. And that was in '82, and in '83 I think we actually opened our doors and started providing services to the developmentally challenged infants and adults in the two counties I mentioned. This continued up through 1992, when Pike County and Monroe County split, and Pike County formed their own organization, and Monroe County took over, and we retained the name of CDD, and I think Pike County still has the name CDD.
They do.
We retained the original charter, but felt at this point, when we were looking at the agency, a name change to reflect a more positive, community-based service delivery model. So that's where Developmental Education Services of Monroe County came in. We wanted to get away from the word center and really focus on getting ourselves out into the community and getting our clients into the community.
And it's a much more positive way of expressing who we are and what we do and what services we provide. And 1992 was a banner year. We hired Ms. Sue Folk as our executive director. It's only been 20 years now, huh?
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost.
And, wow. She's done an outstanding job for us. I must say, add that. I don't know why. But we went through the adult program, as I can recall, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different physical plants that we used. The United Methodist Church, an old building down on 2nd Street, the bowling alley, behind the bowling alley up on North 9th Street for a while, and a couple others. And the goal of the organization was always to have our own facility, which is what we're sitting in now, that we just opened 3 months ago?
August 1st.
August we opened up in our own facility, which again was a dream to combine the administrative offices and the adult program here. Back in the early days, we had excuse me, the early intervention program was also a center-based program, where the parents would bring their children to the program, and we had teachers and therapists here to do that. Since that time, it's now a home-based program where we send our therapists and so on out to the homes to service the children. The adult program has continued as it is here, and 6 years ago we started. 6 years ago.
10 actually.
10 years? Been that long? Jeez,
yes.
It's getting old. We opened up a program out in the West End, and got a facility out there, which is again an excellent facility behind Grant Homes, and they're doing very well also out there. We have I think over almost 60 adult clients now that we serve.
We have 20 out at the West End and 42 here at the center.
And how many children do we have now, Susan?
This year we've served 35 families so far.
35 families. Yeah.
With physical therapy, speech therapy, and developmental education services.
And just an added note is our program and similar programs handle children from birth to 3. And then at 3 years old, it becomes the responsibility of the school districts. And they carry through until they're 21. And then after they're 21, they come back into a program like ours. And so that's pretty much the history of what we've done. Did I leave anything out?
No, just that we are the largest provider of adult day services here in Monroe County. And we're very proud of the fact that we've kept up with all of the initiatives, not only by the state, but by best practices. We are out in the community, not just with community-based activities like bowling, learning to use the movie theaters, giving them skills to become independent. We also have quite a broad-based volunteer component to the program. Meals on Wheels. We deliver meals to Westgate Apartments, Shirley Futch, Whitestone 1 time a week. We've in the past volunteered with Awesome, Salvation Army, Scoot Soup Kitchen, the Top Gaps Art Institute, as well as the Park Service. From May through September, we have for 20 years gone to Hidden Lake and Hialeah Park to help maintain the parks for everyone's use. So we want to showcase the abilities of the individuals that come to our program. We also, in collaboration with the Kiwanis Club of the Stroudsburgs, have an action club, the Kiwanis Action Club, and it's for adults with disabilities, and we do community service. And you might have seen our picture in the paper just recently. We donated $700 to various charities, local charities.
Nice.
We do our fundraising through a Wii bowling tournament that they all enjoy doing, and they make the decisions as to where the money goes. And it's very touching because they have connections out in the community. So when they want to give to the Red Cross, usually there's one of our members has a story to tell how the Red Cross helped them. Or Awesome, you know, they have pets or they've seen strays. And so we are about giving back to the community and being a very integrated part of the community.
You know, something as you said it, you know, it just hit home with me. 62 adults you have here. So that's 62 families that can actually go out to work because you're here. Because if not, they'd have to stay home and watch the, right? So
correct.
I'm sorry, Sue.
No, I was just going to say that it's not just 62 lives that we touch.
Yeah.
You know, when you add in the family members, especially the little ones, when we go into the homes of 35 little ones, we're touching their siblings, their parents, their grandparents. If they have another caregiver or babysitter that comes in, we're touching their lives too.
Yeah. One of the important things in the history of the organization that I forgot was our recycling program. Back in the year 2000, DES partners with communities,
community partners
in recycling, and we created that to give our adults again another avenue to go out and learn and be productive and learn a skill, hopefully. And it's grown meets and bounds, and just it's a tremendous thing. We do shredding take a major organization in the county. We do take all their excess paperwork and we shred that. We collect metals from shops and places that don't have anywhere to we take those. I know they come to my little bitty office once a week and pick up all my excess paper and bring it home, and they bundle up and they can sell all this, and they've been financially very successful and helped us. Probably we would not be sitting in our new facility, which I mentioned a little while ago, had it not been for the CPR. program.
And
Sue?
Community Partners in Recycling actually employs 16 individuals with disabilities.
Wow.
And
Nice.
it's enabled at least 2 individuals to move out of a group home and get an apartment and become more independent in their living. A few individuals have actually used it as a stepping stone, get their feet wet in working in the real world, you know, working out in the community, and have been able to get full-time jobs in the community without any support. And it's just been a marvelous, marvelous program. And again, for 16 individuals getting a paycheck every 2 weeks and for their work, they're very proud of that.
Very, very important point is when our clients go and work, they get paid. And it's
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a great story.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Really is a great story and you're creating giving the opportunities out there that would normally have not been there.
Right.
And especially, you do a lot of paper recycling, I know, cardboard especially. That cardboard market, I know that fluctuates back and forth, but it's again, it puts a lot of people to work.
It's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah.
It's good for the environment, it's good for the
Well,
workers.
and we also, I mean, we submit our tonnage so that the tax credits, the tax breaks that are available to the municipalities can come back to them through the recycling programs that the state has. So, you know, we try to partner and make it a win-win, like you said,
Yeah, it's a
Rosemary.
win-win.
I was looking at the list of your board members. You've got some who's who here. You've got good people here in the community that are really
do.
that are, you know, that are with you, and it just goes to show you what they think of DES, Developmental Educational Services, and by them putting their name there, and you, my gosh, from the beginning. I think I was born. the
30
day you-
years, 30
Yeah,
years.
that's about the time I was born that you started.
Well, it's time Rosemary was born. I'm not too sure about you,
I keep
Maria.
saying I wish I was born then. Well, but you know, you see the hard work and you see where it started. And
One
you
of
see
the
that
things we did not mention, I don't know, we're running short on time, but the absolute dedication of our teachers, our staff is just outstanding. We have got to the point where we're paying a comparable wage, but for many, many, many years we were substandard in salaries and working conditions and benefits, but as we have grown and become more successful, we've been able to move ahead of that. And but again, the hard work those people do is just, I could not do it. I mean, it's just an outstanding thing.
Our staff is very, very dedicated, and I know, you know, this day and age, it's very difficult to make it on one salary. So we do have a number of staff that have second jobs, and we haven't been able to provide raises in the last 3 years. Government funding is flat, you know, so that speaks to their dedication, that speaks to their heart and their caring and their support of the agency, and there's certainly, the families are just so appreciative.
You know, you mentioned the government funding part. We really, the day Corbett got elected, was sworn in, we were 4.1 billion short. That's what our shortfall was, which is a tremendous hole in the budget that, you know, you just can't raise taxes in this economy. So he really had a tough time to just balance the budget without raising taxes. And unfortunately, there were no increases, there were some cuts, but it's either that or raise taxes. And at this time, I don't think it was the right thing to do. But I think as our revenue starts to come back, then you know, the programs that I want to see taken care of, the programs to help the people that need the help.
Right.
And what you're providing here is one of those programs that should get fully funded, hopefully down the road.
Thank you.
It's one of the programs similar to Salvation Army or PATH, or, you know, that we're giving a hand up. You know, money to us is not a handout, it's a hand up. Definitely the skills and the abilities of our clients are enhanced greatly.
And the investment that's made here, it shows, you know, by the job opportunities that you create, and then some that are able to go onto the market on their own and find work because of what they learned and the experiences here.
Right.
Oh, and the other part too is, you know, at the younger age, which with the home services that you provide, the earlier that you help those children at a younger age, the better off for real world life skills and enjoying life and having jobs, like you said, in the future. So that's a really important service that you do. which is good for the home care for younger children.
Right. You know, a child's brain is developing so fast in the first years of life. We all know that. We all know that there's windows of opportunities for children to learn things. If those windows aren't met, then later on problems arise. More services are needed in the school districts, more costly services. So early intervention is a cost-effective right thing to do. And this was 10 years ago. For every dollar spent in early intervention, it was a savings of $4 in special education in the school districts. So you can see that, you know, I'm sure, you know, that's
helping the individual do so much better.
Well, our first segment, we had the vice president and the fellow that's been here from the beginning, and we really truly appreciate you giving me the opportunity to come down here and Representative Brown to speak with you, and hopefully this just 3 months ago when I what's it, you said August. I thought we opened
opening,
this,
yeah.
but we came in after you were open.
correct.
Right.
For
Yeah,
this,
open house.
It was about that open house, and I was just totally amazed from the one location how you were able to put this together. And I know it's a generous community, and hopefully the community continue to be generous. Thank you very much for taking the time, and you've been watching Legislative Report. We'll be back in a moment.
Did you know that the main entrance to the Pennsylvania State Capitol building is home of 2 bronze doors that each weigh over 1 ton? As the primary entrance to this beautiful architectural building, the bronze doors signify the many accomplishments and sacrifices endured throughout the history of the Commonwealth. The magnificent archway over top the doors contains a portrait of William Penn, founder of the Keystone State. The upper panels on the doors commemorate the forming of our nation, with the signing of the Declaration of Independence and Constitution. The bottom panels depict the laborious industries of the Commonwealth, including coal mining and agriculture. Now you know.
Welcome back to Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Rosemary Brown, and I'm here with Representative Mario Scavello, and we are now joined by Jim Ferrari, President of the Board of DES, and also Susan Folk, still back from Executive Director of DES. So we're returning back to our conversation that we were having about the history of DES and all the wonderful things that they provide to the community. So we're trying to figure out here, and we know you have a lot of background.
Yeah, let me, if you don't mind, I want to go a little bit onto that background.
He was waiting for this.
No, only because I
waiting.
know Jim a long time. You know, he's probably he is one of the better attorneys in the county, very busy attorney, and to find the time, and you know that he really believes in what you do here and what happens here, for him to donate his time and his name to the community. And I know I go back with Jim back in the early 90s. Actually, it might have been the late 80s, and he said, "Who is that guy from New York?" Because I used to go to some of the borough meetings. He's the attorney. He's the solicitor for the borough of Mount Pocono since the late 80s, correct?
That's correct.
Yeah, so a long time. And now he's the alternate solicitor for the county.
That's correct.
And I believe you do something else you do at the prison board?
Do the prison board for Monroe County and some other municipal work as well.
Yeah. So you have a full plate, and to take the time to help, it really tells something about your character, the fact that you know, because this is an organization that really does some good things here. Well,
thank you very much for those nice words. I have been on the board, I believe I came on the board in the early 1990s, and I've been president, I think, for probably 15 or so years I've been president. And early on in my tenure, I developed a special interest in trying to find a permanent home for the agency. And how that came about was that the agency, when I became first on the board, was in a building down on Lower Main Street in Stroudsburg. They had all kinds of difficulties with the physical plant, and the heat didn't work right, the carpet was coming up off the floor, the roof leaked. So I interested the board at that time in beginning a search for a property for us to purchase so we'd have a permanent home, so we wouldn't have problems with dealing with landlords and all those types of issues that you have when you rent a property. And we engaged in a search that lasted a lot longer than any of us really wanted to have it last. We went up a lot of blind alleys, and as you probably know, for a program like this, I mean, there is a zoning issues that you have to satisfy,
Right.
and that really constricts the amount of property that's available. And then we looked during the real estate boom years in the county where we were competing with commercial uses for the same property. So we had some, as I said, we had some blind alleys, but we did luckily happen upon the property that we're sitting in now, which, as I'm sure you know, is longtime Monroe County residents. This was Sebring's Powerhouse. I remember bringing my lawnmower here to get fixed and buying lawnmowers here many times. And when we purchased it, it had been closed. It was no longer in operation, and we did renovations, substantial renovations. We were fortunate enough to get some very nice donations from members of the community, and we moved in here this past summer, and we're absolutely delighted to be here.
Exceptional plant, a beautiful, and in a great area too, because especially the young clients, they can go outside and and during the daytime, and a nice day. You have the parks over here, so that your location is just spectacular.
Stroud Township has been wonderful with us, working with us, and you know, they have no problem with our use of the fields, and then during Little League tournaments or whatever, we share our parking. It's you know, it's a very, very congenial type of relationship, and we're very privileged to be here in Stroud Township.
You know, I was looking at the districts, you know, the district line, hers and Representative Brown and myself. Do you know that I think it cuts right in the middle of this? It does.
It literally is right here.
It is right here.
Actually, it goes right in between the chairs.
That's why we have Representative Brown on this side. You know, if you saw the way the line is cut, it's unbelievable. Like you could either vote at the Wesleyan Church for me, or you're voting at the municipal.
So they get 2 for 1.
They're getting 2 for 1.
That's it.
But the whole thing is you service the whole county, and at the West End and everything else. But it's so great to see that you've grown to this level.
Actually, the West End facility is out right before Broadheadsville, and that was begun probably, what did we say? 15 years ago or 90, so. Yeah. But that was actually 11 individuals coming out of a state institution. Wow. That the initiative was to get individuals who were, you know, either misdiagnosed, you know, just put into an institution that could really be blossoming out in the community. So we won the RFP with Carbon Monroe Pike, and we set up that center out there to specifically accommodate 11 individuals, which they were re-entering the community. So we needed to have some specialized support, some, you know, some nursing kind of staff, and
initially I didn't know that you had that facility down there in the West End, and I actually was informed from constituents of mine that had a great experience with 2 of their children down in the West End.
Wonderful.
So with all good reviews, and how wonderful it was to have that down in the West End. My district goes down that way.
Okay.
So
that's great to hear. And they have some very challenging individuals, physically challenging. They have feeding tubes or peg tubes, and so that requires some level of nursing care, really, and observation. And I have to say, our staff down there did a wonderful job with it. Well,
and I think, you know, you sometimes maybe you don't always think of this side of it, but the respite type of care for the family to have on that type of a patient that they care so much about, but they do need that break, and they do need that help and that assistance, and that really plays such a big role in some of the services you provide too, because, you know, the families love and they want to take care, but they also need a break to take care of themselves a little too.
It's a great point, and you know, on top of that, Rosemary, the fact is some of them would need to go to work, and if they didn't have a place for their family member to be at, they'd have to stay home. So it takes away from the family income as well. So it not only gives them that break, but it also allows them the opportunity to be employed in the community.
And the families really develop a strong relationship with the staff and trust them implicitly, to the point where when they need to have respite outside of the program, whether for a weekend they have to go away or for an evening they have to go out, they will contact our staff and hire them to come in and do the respite in the home, because they've developed that bond and that trust. So and I think that's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for the parents to feel comfortable in being able to do that.
And not only that, but their children, and they know who's going to be there. It's not a brand new face that you're bringing into the house.
Correct.
So it's someone that they're accustomed to, not just the family, but also the client, right?
Right.
And I think, you've done such a great job in the history and how much you've grown it. Is there a next stage, or, as you had your vision years ago with Main Street, is there a next stage that you would say you'd love to see?
We're actually still in this stage, because although we're in this building, we haven't paid for it. We have a mortgage, we have a couple mortgages, and so we're still keenly involved in fundraising, because it's our dream to not have a mortgage, not have to pay a mortgage. And hopefully that we have an ongoing fundraising efforts. We have, I don't know if it's been mentioned by Gary Roberts when he was here, but we have
He said he was going to leave that for you.
Okay.
The fundraising.
We have a event that is scheduled now for March. What's the date?
March 23rd.
March 23rd.
We need to stay away from the October date, because we keep getting bad weather in October, right?
We had
No more snow.
It was scheduled for Shawnee. It's called the Gatsby Gala. It's a Roaring 20s themed party, and it was scheduled for the end of October, and we had a snowstorm, and we had to cancel it, and now it's rescheduled, and we're hoping that's sort of our feature fundraiser. We're always reaching out to members of the community to help us out financially. We have gotten some really generous donations, particularly, I don't want to single anybody out, but particularly from the Hughes Foundation. The Hughes Foundation has been extremely generous to this organization.
The Weiler family.
The Weiler family, Lester Abeloff, and I don't want to start to name names, but we've gotten a lot of help, and if anybody wants to help us out, we certainly could use all the help we could get.
Do you have a website where they can go to make donations, or?
We're not that high tech yet, but we do have a website. They can go there and get the information on where to send donations and more information about the Gatsby Gala and our programs. And it's DevEdMC.Monroe County.org.
We're going to also scroll that on the screen also, so just to make.
Great.
But I'm going to be at the gala. I know that
the gala was great.
We had so much fun with that. Oh my gosh. The Riverside Rhythm comes, the music is all 1920s, and we have dancers out there that just...
I'm just worried about the weather. Every time you seem to have that gala.
It was candlelight. It was beautiful, though. You couldn't have recreated the 20s any better.
The last one you had where... I turned around because I heard a couple of trees were down and this and that, and then she calls me, says, "You better come down here." I says, "There's a tree down."
But it was beautiful. It was by candlelight. It was you couldn't have recreated it. It was
the
so
electricity was out. I mean, it was truly a dark, speakeasy kind of atmosphere, and we are going to not the snowstorm, but the rest of it we intend to recreate.
With a good fundraising effort.
If we get another snowstorm from now on, we'll do it in July.
There you go.
Yep, absolutely.
Well, first I want to thank Representative Brown for joining me.
Thank you.
We haven't done a show together in a while, but thank you. And and Jim and Sue, thank you for having us visit.
Thank you too.
Looking forward to seeing this place grow. I know there's another building over there that we could probably renovate and grow.
Yes.
Right, as she was saying that, I'm looking at that building. I said, "Am I right?"
Yes. Yes.
Because this, so hopefully the folks out there that see the show could realize the importance of what you do here in the community and help you out. And
we want to thank you so much for taking the time to come down and spend the afternoon with us. We really appreciate it and helping us get the word out to the residents of the county.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You've been watching Legislative Report. I'm State Representative Mario Scavello, joined with Representative Rosemary Brown. If you have any questions about the show that you've just seen, the information will be on our screen in a moment. So see you next time for Legislative Report.